Alright, time to do this. I am taking a look at Waffle's predator system. This guy is out kind of in the middle of nowhere, which makes sense because predators don't like plants. My plan is just to watch these guys for a little bit, see how they interact in their own environment before dropping my predators in and see what happens. So, they're definitely following each other around. That one just laid an egg. That one's going to eat the egg. Their eggs are fairly expensive. They cost about 90 energy more than mine do. These guys are a little bit bigger than mine. Interesting. How fast do these guys grow? Growth is currently not happening. Let's see what their actual trigger for growth is. So we have a red constant and a red maturity, which means that over time they grow less. So this big one's probably not going to get any bigger than it already is. Then we have a Relu being fed by multiple things. Primarily a molt over here, a linear, another linear. Okay, so plant angle turns red. That doesn't really make a heck of a lot of sense for turning off want to grow. Tick turns off want to grow. Interesting. Those probably combine into a positive. Not 100% sure though. Okay, so there's a constant here, energy. Energy feeds into that as a positive green. So if it has energy, it wants to grow. And then this one is red Bibbit. So it seems mostly energy based. More energy, more grow. Just like that. They have a very high maturity factor, which means that when they are growing, they grow fast, which is good for a predator. They need to be able to use their energy. Let's see if this energy actually ever caps out. Nope, lays an egg. It converts it to growth, and it does cap out a little bit here at the top, but it is going to lay an egg. This is going to be a big one. 299. It's not very old, but it is getting big. Watch this guy grow. It currently has a size factor of almost 2. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I like that growth rate. Just to take a look. View angle, view radius, parasense. Doesn't really have a lot here. Eggs take a little while to hatch, so that angry babies aren't hatching on top of adults. They definitely seem cannibalistic, which is totally fine. Right. I like this one. He's a big chunker. Now, I did notice strength and defense. These are set manually. I did notice that the whales themselves have almost maxed out strength and almost no defense. So these things, if they bite you, they hurt really bad. Really, really bad. I need to see this thing grow. I'm going to feed it a plant real quick. Does it have the same system? I don't necessarily want to dig too deep into it. It doesn't have a direct constant negative, but there is a constant feeding into this, which is going to turn this red. Blue Bibbit doesn't really count. Does it? Blue Bibbit makes you want to not grow. But these are the only two that feed into this. Interesting. I mean, clearly it grows from time to time. It's a constant. And a blue Bibbit. Oh, there is a green here. I missed one. This Relu, which is connected to energy. Yeah, okay, so I think that's going to be a pattern with with Waffles. Bibbits, there's going to be energy directly connected to, or closely connected to growth. It works. All right, let's spawn in some competition. I'm going to just spawn in a new one that I grabbed earlier. 2,000 2,000 seconds. This is the one that was doing well. Default tagging, and I'm just going to spawn in 10 babies at a time. Crank this up, and just double check. See, little eggs. These guys are not as big as Waffles. But I'm going to continue to watch Waffles and see what they do while mine spawn. So Waffles, they only have 1,200 recorded generations. They don't have a lot of time in the sim compared to almost 25,000. So this is going to be interesting. This big one's getting eaten. It's a good thing. It's the circle of life. It moves us all. There we go. Let's find a big one. Chunky boy get bit. Punky boy gets bit. Oh, that sucked to be that one. Okay, so Waffle was saying that the pogo stick did not survive, and I loved the pogo stick that was presented. I think this one's going to get eaten by these babies. That whale's going to get eaten. All right, Waffles. These things are good predators. They do a good job eating things. No doubt about that. That whale is toast. Unfortunately, so is this guy, because he... What was that? What was that? Do it again. Do it again. Okay. No, he still has a pogo stick behavior. There's still a pogo stick behavior here. He's just barely going too fast for it right now. What happens if I just hold this? All right. How do I... Okay, he's almost slowed down enough to pogo stick off. How did that... I'm missing all the good stuff over here. People dying. Whalers dying. All right. I think they eat a lot of each other, right? So I was talking about how your whales, they don't reproduce very often, right? They have to get really big and only lay a couple eggs. Which means that your guys are going to have to kill each other a lot. That's my suspicion. I could be wrong. I'm frequently wrong. Okay, now this one's getting eaten. Why are you slow? Because you were starving to death. I understand why your guys get so big now, because they get a lot of food all at once. Your whales are huge, and they continue to get huge. It's a fascinating dynamic. So what's happening with the pogos, with the progs? This one's got a meal. They're doing all right. They're getting around. None of them are getting super big though. This one will. We're gonna get some eggs out of this, but I think the problem is Progs have, like you mentioned, the population over 300, probably 400 for my prey, whereas your whales, there's only 52 of them. So finding prey is the hard part. I think I understand why you're losing your Bibit angle with that in mind, right? Oh, that was somewhat interesting. Tried to go for the Prog, but is the Prog baby going to eat the whaler? That is the only question on my mind right now. I think it's going to happen because the whaler's going to run out of energy. It's going to slow down, and the Prog's going to get it right here. Yep, that's exactly what happened. And again. I think what's going to end up happening is Progs are going to eat mostly whale. They're going to eat each other, mostly whalers, because sorry, because whalers are the available prey. There's not enough whales. Oh, this one's getting big. Right. But this isn't about Progs. This is about whalers. Or Brussels sprout sharks, I think is what we started calling them. This one's going to be a little longer than 10 minutes. I think I'm going to go 20 minutes on this one just to see how things pan out. You're going to get eaten. You're going to get bit. Yep. No more survival for you. So Progs are not taking over, right? I have a 10 spawn, which gives them a huge advantage, right? They can't go extinct. But they're not taking over. You're lucky. You're lucky to be alive. Ooh. Oh, Prog missed entirely. Got a mouthful of plant. Okay, let's see what's going on here. This is a fun one to watch. There's a lot of violence happening all over the place. Ooh, conflict. Maybe. Face lock. Yeah, that died hard. Raises a question. 20 and 10. 20, 25 and 10. So the whalers definitely have the advantage on the attack. I wonder why the Prog won. You got bit pretty hard. Huh. Well, Progs are doing something. They're up to 20. 22? Whalers. I forgot to keep track of the populations. I think whaler population's coming down, but I'm not 100% sure. Little baby Prog gonna go find a meal. Oh, I should watch that. Okay, so Progs run around with a belly full of meat, right? It's basically just their little battery. This is gonna be a problem. You gonna get him? You gonna get him? No. Just gonna dodge you with the meat. So what I want to know is what do the insides of these guys look like? Right. So he's got a. These things I think are going to go through meat a lot faster. Just on account of the fact that if there's enough egg for laying an, or enough energy for laying an egg, the egg's going to come out, right? It doesn't have anything actually connected to want to lay. So I don't see the whalers doing really long, deep shots into the void. Eat that whale. Eat that whale. Let's see how this goes. So a single whaler eating this guy, he is not able to tank it at all. No, hold on. His energy, his hit points go up for a little bit and then they bite again. I wonder if there's a bite timer at play. Almost 2 seconds per bite. That makes sense. Progs are definitely breeding. We have 29 now. That's their, when they see plants, it triggers their gag reflex. So he just pushed the meat out of the plant zone. Oh. Oh. You just saw that, right? You just saw that. Oh, that was beautiful. She's like, The Prog wins. Whalers are decreasing in population. We're down to 46. This one's about to starve to death. I don't really care to watch that. Pardon me while I drink my coffee. They're fighting over food. This is a very, very active soup. There's a lot going on in here. The whalers were holding on though, man. Like, they do not want to die. And here's the thing I think is a benefit about your particular whales. With them being so big, the whalers have to do less hunting for more energy, right? Prog's prey is minuscule compared to these guys, right? So I think per kill, your whalers are just able to pump out a lot more babies than Progs are used to. They have to kill a lot more things for the same meat. And that partially is you just have almost 2.5, 2.467. That's an almost maxed out whale. My whale's only 1.5. I started it at 2.5, but the evolution sim took it down several notches. I may play around with my whales a bit again, but I kind of want mine to be able to hunt smaller prey. Just on account of the fact that the sim tends to favor tiny things rather than big things. Your whalers are down to 26. I kind of just want to see if Progs push these guys to extinction, because they're up to 37. Your predators are fantastic, though. I love these guys. They're kind of ugly. I don't necessarily like that green, but it's a vibe. Okay, he's not going to do anything interesting. He's found meat. He's going to eat the meat, which is good, you know. The meat is how they get big. The meat is how they make more of them. We want them to eat the meat. We just don't necessarily want to watch them eat the meat. Eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it. What's going on here? No, you got full energy. He's just going really slow. What are your speed controls? You have a very simple speed control. That is a linear function straight out of constant. This one I think is broken. Nope, same thing. Really? So what essentially happened is I think you set your speed ratio, and then the sim said, we want to slow that down, and this is how we're going to do that, right? So they've cut your speed ratio from 0.5 to 0.3 using the neural network and a constant, and just this dummy linear right here. That's harsh. I mean, it's good in a way. I love how your guys just stack on top of each other and just murder each other in groups. It's a good time. All right. I don't think there's enough predators here anymore to watch them interact with each other frequently. Progs are just kind of floating around. See, we have the same speed ratio, but I have a significantly more complex accelerate function. It does come into a linear again, which is interesting. Bibit closeness and green bibit. Really? Okay, so it's not that complex. Oh, there's another function here. Oh my goodness, Gaussian. So meat angle, right? The meat angle Gaussian. So this is one of the best things that the Progs do is when they stop, when they see meat, they're going to stop and go for it. Oh, that should have been fixed. There it is. There's the pogo stick. I'll show you what I mean. Watch this guy just basically stop and turn to the meat. This way they always get the meat and they don't overshoot it by a tremendous amount. It's one of my favorites. One of my favorite functions. Okay, I need more violence. Bring me violence. Whalers have recovered in population. They're up to 42. Our whales majestically are increasing, right? I think they were down to 50. So I think this combat between the whalers and the Progs has actually given them a chance to expand their population somewhat. There is so much meat on this field. What is the actual count? It's not bad. So your meat chunks are much bigger than my meat chunks. So you have a lot more energy on the field than I do for the same amount of meat. Still, half your chunks are meat, half your chunks are plant. That's a lot of plant. It's not a bad thing. Somebody made a lot of babies. Where's all these whales coming from? I bet it's that one. Are you big enough to lay eggs? Yep. Yeah. So this is something interesting that I want to watch for a little bit. That goes up fast. So once these things get old enough to really lay eggs, they can crank them out, relatively speaking. It just takes a long time to do so. Huh. Okay, so we have a red feeder into Wantalea, which is a sigmoid, which has one input, which is a Gauss, which is connected to digestion and the number of meats. So the more full it is, interesting. Right, so this is 0, this is 0, which is this is a 1. As these fill up, this reduces. That is a tangled up mess. That is a tangled up mess, but it seems to work. And so all this guy needs to do is grab a hold of a big plant, and then it can turn that into more whales. So 1,000 energy apiece. This one is 7,600 energy. So between feeding this guy and making babies, I think we can get 5 eggs out of this one plant. I'm just gonna check that real quick, while I completely ignore the predators. I was wrong. Okay, so the efficiency is 48%, so we lose half of the energy. So it was almost 8,000. We're going to round it up. 4,000 energy you actually get out of this, and we were able to produce so far an egg and a whale belly full of food. It's still growing, so it's putting a lot of energy into that. We have 2 eggs. Yeah. Okay, so a big chunk will get you 2 eggs. That's enough of that. I need violence. There's some violence. There was the promise of violence. There is no violence. That's gonna die. Next. We're at 25 minutes. The Progs definitely like the soup. They don't take over. They don't extinct the whalers. I think that's a really good sign for the whalers. I'm actually going to leave this soup running and see what happens. I'm I'm going to mix in my soup and see what happens. Oh, I don't have a recent prog whale. Ah, screw it. I'll have to go to the other save and get prog whales. Anyways, I think it turned out pretty cool. Your predators survived. My predators are co-evolving with your predators, all feeding off of your R whales. I think that is probably the absolute best situation that could have come out of this. I'm going to end the video.